All right, Carlo. There's a lot of snakes out there, a lot of frustrating, irritating individuals doing all the shenanigans. You've got a couple on your team, played against a couple as well. But who do you think is the most frustrating person to play against?
As of recent, I think Leggy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty mechanically gifted with that up, and he hits shots that he shouldn't be hitting, and that's just super frustrating.
Does he make
Credit to him.
audacious plays type of thing with like things that maybe shouldn't work, but they do, or is it just like nutty shots that he hits?
No, I think the reason it's more frustrating is because he doesn't do that stuff. I think we're kind of used to people just doing stuff they shouldn't be doing.
Okay.
But yeah, he seems to play like a pretty good level, but then in those clutch situations when you just see him jumping around with an AWP and next thing you're dead, or like you see him come out of smoke and you're dead, it's like,
Yeah, when you got the advantage even as well. All right. Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
Okay, so Nick, I'd say majority of your career has been under the title of coach, but you've picked up playing this year, IGLing, calling in the server now, feeling a lot more part of the mix. So, who would you say is the most frustrating person to play against? And it could be someone that you watched when you were coaching as well, because you could see how irritating it was, but maybe from your own experience playing too.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's actually gonna be an ex-teammate of mine, and it's gonna be Flexi. But it's frustrating from the point of view when you're against him.
Yeah.
It's like you can't kill him. Like he's not gonna give up his life when like for no reason and stuff like that. Like he's super, super, super solid. So I think I'm gonna say Flexi from that point of view. But also I would say another one of my ex-teammates, which is the man. He's also like someone who's frustrating to play against because he's always killing you through smoke, always walking smokes, always taking the space. But I think Flexi's from the more point of view, like frustrating when your team's in like a 4v5 and you need to force a gunfight, Flexi's not going to be the person to die. He's going to be the person to punish you, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm going to say Flexi's going to be the most frustrating player to play against.
I think the most frustrating player has to be Domster. I mean, every single time you play against him, he's always in the most strangest angle and he just absolutely shuts you down.
It came down to like his game sense. It felt like he always put himself in the perfect place, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would have still rated him as one of the best players the country's ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And you played against him a number of times as well, coming up to like 2015, 16, 17. So you felt his wrath a few times.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the reasons why we got knocked out of the I think it was 2018 VS Masters, I believe.
Comic-Con,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, when he stood in for Energy or the Energy Academy team, and then he absolutely domsted us. No pun intended.
Trev, I wouldn't be surprised if you were the answer to this question from a few people, but for you, who's the most frustrating player to play against?
So I didn't really go for a skill thing. I just thought to myself, who do I really hate playing against and who annoys me? And the two answers I got for either Destroyed or the man. I feel like whenever I
Okay.
play against one of them, I get really, really annoyed because Destroyed, he does things that I would say are bad, but it works when he does it. So who am I to judge? And the man, he's Buddha incarnated, and when it comes to playing against Buddha, it's very hard. It's very tilting as well.
The Potch Blood Man. I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
it's just because it's completely unexpected, the things that they pull out, right?
Yeah, and they land the most nutty shot, and Sean always finds a way to shoot me through a smoke.
Okay, there we go. Adam, I think there's a few people who we might see with the reoccurring instance of them coming up in the video here, but who do you think is the most frustrating person to play against?
I think I'm gonna have to go with Slowy. Like this guy,
Not
he's
surprised.
so irritating to play against, and he's very frustrating to play against. His play style is very unique. He is like a chihuahua that has no leash and is just running. He's only running forwards, never running backwards. And
Not scared of
unfortunately,
anything.
if there's a like relationship between he is feeling it and you are not,
Yeah.
you will hate yourself that game. You will hate everything that game. And
Oh my
I've played
God.
against him in many times, more so when he was in ATK than before or after,
Yeah.
where that's just dude, none of us were feeling it. Aaron was having the best games of his life that year, and what can you do
I
other than
think, as you
just bang
say,
your
it's
head
just
against the
peaking.
wall for 40 minutes? It was
No, he's gonna
awful.
bang your head out the server, exactly. Hey, you guys had that for 18 months, just
Oh, bro.
slowly just doing his thing. But I mean, he's a talented player, so yeah.
Yeah, no, he's sick. I like
Yeah.
him a lot, but yeah, he's very annoying to play against. Yeah.
I think there's quite a few, but the first name that comes to mind for me at least is Slowy. I think AWPers in general are really, really annoying to play against, especially one as aggressive as him. With his kind of mechanical skill, he makes a lot of sort of wild plays that at the time feels like I should have punished him or the team should have punished him, and he gets away with it. So feel pretty frustrated after he makes plays like that.
And it's got like he's got an uncanny success rate for like those aggressive plays that like shouldn't work, but and even though teams know it's coming, he still pulls it off so often, man.
Exactly, and I think that's the most frustrating part about it is something like that's gonna happen. He does something absolutely crazy and he gets away, and that's frustrating for me.
Tools, for you, who has been the most frustrating person you've played against in your career?
I have two nemesis, and that's probably why I chose them for my dream team. It has to be Domster and Detrony, hands down. Throughout my career, they were a thorn in my side. They always felt like they were a step ahead. I'd say that, yeah.
All right, and was it just because they were so good at the game that they just were always such strong opponents?
100%. Domster, because he never really missed, and he was always at the right place at the right time. Dimmy, because he played poker and he always took these crazy gambles, though unexpected, especially in 1v1s or just or strategies in general, or how you wanted to. You rush B, he's already there, he's got a perfect angle, he rotates at the right time. Yeah, it was just a nuisance to play
nightmare.
against. Yeah.
Well, we've had some reoccurring answers with this question, Ethan, but for you, who do you think is the most frustrating person to play against?
I think it's definitely Slowy, like for sure. He's a very annoying player to play against, and the fact that he's on the big green is just 10 times easier for him to be annoying. So I have to put Slowy there, I feel.
What is it? Is it just how like ridiculously all over the place he is and just doesn't care?
I think the thing about Slowy is he's super momentum based, so if he has a good start, he just won't stop, and it can be hard to, like, he has an AWP, like what can you do? It's a very hard thing
Easiest
to
gun in
counter.
the game, man.
It's hard to shut him down, like for sure.
Yeah, he has the talent. He's lightning fast. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. All right, Sean, I'm going to keep it real with you. Your name may or may not appear on this list a number of times, but in your opinion, who do you think is the most frustrating person to play against?
Excluding myself.
Well, I mean, you can't play against yourself, so
Yeah.
yes.
To be honest, I would actually say, peak Talkbook. You know, when he was playing for Energy.
Cultured, man.
Yeah, he was by far the most annoying. Every time he died to me, he was midair. You know. So
just playing Call of Duty while everyone else is playing Counter-Strike.
yeah, actually.
I think personally, like over the years of competing against like a bunch of players that have probably retired by now and all of that, still one of the most frustrating players for me to play against. Everyone would always think like maybe Slowy because he's very aggressive, he's very annoying to play against. With his aggression, and a lot of players that are aggressive are always going to pop up in these situations, or like they do very unorthodox things in plays. But for me, that's not as much of a frustration because it's something I do myself. I think it's just a style of play that you can counter. Something that's for me incredibly frustrating to play against is a player like Flexi. I think Flexi has been one of the hardest nuts for me to crack over the years wherever he plays because he's just such a solid player. He's incredibly difficult to get past if he's anchoring a bomb site. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's very difficult to deal with, essentially, whether he's T side, CT side. You can't do a lot against a player that plays fundamentally sound Counter-Strike, you know?
Oh, love that.